very much for joining us for this media availability. This is, of course, about the landslide in the Chilcotin region. We do have a few speakers on the line here, so if media have questions, please press *1 to raise your hand to ask a question. Before we go to questions, though, I'm going to hand it over to the Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, Bowinn Ma.
Thank you so much for that, and good afternoon. I am Bowinn Ma, Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, joining you today live from the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. I am joined by my colleague Nathan Cullen, Minister of Water, Lands and Resource Stewardship, and Connie Chapman, Executive Director of Water Management for the Ministry of Water, Land and Resource Stewardship. Late Tuesday night, a large landslide blocked the Chilcotin River near the Farwell Canyon. The Chilcotin River is one of the main tributaries that feeds into the Fraser River. This landslide has dammed the Chilcotin River and is blocking the flow of water to the Fraser River confluence. This blockage has created a lake at the site of the dam, which currently extends several kilometers upstream. Our primary concern right now is the potential impacts to people and communities if this dam were to experience a sudden collapse. In the event of the dam collapsing, an outburst of water could flow down the Chilcotin River and into the Fraser River, bringing with it a significant amount of debris. Water levels could increase extremely quickly along the Chilcotin River, as well as in the Fraser River immediately below the confluence to Hope. This is a dynamic situation, and we must be prepared for the worst case scenario. Right now, I'm asking everyone to avoid the Fraser River from the Chilcotin confluence to Hope until the province can have a better understanding of the potential impacts if this dam were to fail. All people and boaters along and on the Chilcotin and the Fraser River from Hope to the Chilcotin are asked to leave the area immediately. If you were planning to boat on the Fraser this weekend, I am urging you to change your plans and avoid the Fraser, particularly between Hope and the Chilcotin confluence. This includes avoiding the shoreline of the rivers, as the banks can become unstable if there is a sudden rush of water. Yesterday, the province issued a BC emergency alert to the Caribou Regional District to people in the area of potential flooding and debris flow. We are prepared to issue more alerts if necessary. The Caribou Regional District has issued an evacuation order for the area near the landslide. While we are not aware of any primary residential properties affected, an evacuation reception center has been set up at Williams Lake as a precautionary measure where people can receive emergency support services if needed. Yesterday, aerial support was deployed by BC Wildfire Service along with search and rescue crews to help evacuate people from the area. Personnel from the Ministry of Water, Land and Resource Stewardship are on the ground conducting assessments, and aerial support has been deployed to assist with those assessments. Further geotechnical assessments and modeling are underway to determine the risk downstream, and the province is working closely with communities, First Nations, and the federal government to coordinate response operations. Again, this is a dynamic and developing situation. I am urging all British Columbians that live or work near the Chilcotin River and the Fraser River between the Chilcotin confluence and Hope to remain extremely vigilant. If this dam were to break, it is possible that dozens of evacuation orders and alerts will be issued along both rivers, and people need to be prepared. So let me be clear. The risk to people and communities along the river is unknown at this time, but it has the potential to be significant. The province is prepared to take additional actions to keep people and communities safe in the event of flooding, such as deploying sandbag machines, gabions, and tiger dams to communities if needed. People living along Fraser River from Hope to the Chilcotin confluence are encouraged to pack grab-and-go bags and prepare your home for possible flooding by moving equipment and other assets from low-lying areas to higher ground. Please pay close attention to Emergency Info BC for information on the developing situation. All evacuation orders and alerts will be amplified on that website as well. I'd now like to pass it over to Minister Cullen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ma, and thank you very much for your leadership on this very important situation that's developed quite quickly over the last day or so. I'm Nathan Cullen. I'm the Minister of Water, Lands, Resource Stewardship. I am also here in Wet'suwet'en Territory in the Northwest. And as Minister Ma has said, this is a potentially very serious situation. And this is a cross-government approach to addressing all of the information that we need, as well as all of the communications with local government, First Nations, first responders, and others to make sure that we're preparing and having ourselves ready in case of a worst case scenario, but of course, hoping for the best. Excuse me, the Chilcotin slide is of great size and impact, approximately 600 to 800 meters in length, 600 meters across and 30 meters deep, of a massive amount of land that has come across and is now, as Minister Ma said, had the river backing up into a pooling lake that is some 8 to 10 kilometers long. Our crews are flying the river right now. First Nations have been in the air and observing the impacts of this, and we are deploying all of the assets that we are able to the area to understand best what the impact of this slide is and the nature of this very dynamic situation. The potential of a large surge, as Minister Ma has talked about, is what would be a very difficult scenario. Understanding what our options are as government and working with local communities and experts to be able to understand if a slower release of water is imminent or possible in a natural way or through other interventions. We're also updating what are called LIDAR maps. These are very detailed maps of the area to be able to understand the nature of what was there before, because we have maps that exist of the land and the scope there before and what exists now. We also know that the Chilcotin is a critical spawning habitat for salmon and other fish. And very critically, the sockeye moving up the system right now are meant to arrive in a couple of weeks. So we are initiating early plans as to what we can do to make sure that those stocks remain intact. I'll now invite Connie Chapman, Executive Director of the Water Management Branch, to give us a few more technical details of the slide.
Thank you, Minister Cullen, and thank you, Minister Ma. Minister Cullen and Minister Ma have covered this very, very well themselves. As they both identified, this is a significant slide, and it's an extremely dynamic situation.
Sorry, Connie, you're
The
not
audio.
audible. Can you please adjust your headset and maybe we can restart?
Can you hear me now?
It's still pretty, maybe
garbled.
Let's
try.
Why don't we pause and we can have Connie maybe offer some technical details at the end. In the meantime, perhaps our events lead could work with Connie on adjusting audio as necessary. Does that work for you, Connie?
Sure.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Minister Ma, do we have anyone else set to speak?
No, Connie was our last speaker, actually. We do have some time for questions, although Connie Chapman is, of course, a subject matter expert that a lot of people will want to hear from. We also have Ian Cunnings with EMCR also on the line, prepared to answer questions as well. Connie, maybe you can take a moment to see if you can get another headset or adjust your audio, recognizing that we did pull you into this very last minute, and I know that folks on the line will want to hear your comments.
Thanks very much, Minister. We will try again. Perhaps, Connie, would you like to just say hello and introduce your title one last time?
Chapman, Executive Director of Water Management.
Unfortunately, still not strong enough, so I'll ask you to work with the events lead on that. And media on the line, should you have questions directly for Connie, please do follow up with myself, Tara Gostelow. We can try to connect you after the fact. And in the meantime, we are going to go to questions from the queue. Our first question is going to come from Marcella Bernardo, CBC Kamloops. Marcella, please go ahead.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Just looking to see when you're talking about the clearing the area north of Hope, I guess what are the concerns about just how far reaching this debris could be or could go?
So we do know that the Chilcotin River is a very important tributary into the Fraser River. And so there could be potential impacts all the way to the mouth of the Fraser. Now, those impacts are currently being assessed. That's why we have technical experts in the air and on the ground currently understanding the situation at the blockage and mapping out what those kinds of impacts could be downstream. Now, it is important to note that we do have flood warnings, flood watches, and high stream advisories in place for the Chilcotin River upstream of the landslide. Oh, I'll actually provide it to you in order so that it's more clear. So the River Forecast Center has issued a flood warning for the Chilcotin River upstream of the landslide in the vicinity of Farwell Canyon. They have also issued a flood watch for the Chilcotin River downstream of the landslide in the vicinity of the Farwell Canyon and the Fraser River from the Chilcotin River confluence downstream to Hope. There is also a high stream flow advisory for the Fraser River downstream of Hope and out into the mouth of the Fraser. I'm just going to take a pause here and see if Connie Chapman's audio is working and if she wanted to add anything further.
Can you hear me now?
Unfortunately not. That's okay, Connie. We will try again. We'll go for Minister. Would you like to throw to anyone else, or would you like Marcella to go to a follow-up?
I can check in with Minister Cullen to see if he would like to add anything.
No, that's good.
Wonderful. We'll go to Marcella's follow-up, please.
I'm not sure if you have an update on this, but we were also hoping to see if there's an update on the status of the person that was rescued from the landslide and if there's been any sign of anyone else possibly being injured by it.
Ian, do you have anything further on the person who was rescued from the landslide?
Yeah, no, Minister, nothing further than what we reported. The Central Caribou SAR team rescued one individual and transported them to BC Ambulance, and that's the update that we have. And no further people have been reported missing or impacted.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you very much. We'll go to the next question in the queue. We hear from Aaron MacArthur, Global News. Aaron, please go ahead.
Oh, hi there. This is probably a question for Connie Chapman, but I'll give it a shot anyway. I was speaking with geotechnical people with geotechnical knowledge and suggested that given the volume of water and the nature of the slide, there could be kind of a reasonable calculation as to a timeline of when the dam may break, either slowly or suddenly. Does anyone have a sense of what the time frame is we're looking at here?
So this is the work that is currently underway. We do have engineers, geologists, hydrologists, biologists, and other technical experts that have been deployed to the site to provide geotechnical assessments and gather the information that is required for us to have a comprehensive understanding of the situation and come up with a plan for the path forward. As Minister Cullen has noted, accelerated LiDAR mapping is also underway.
Thanks very much. Connie, do you have anything to add? Would you like to give it a try?
I can give it a try. Does it work?
Aaron, that might be a bit muted for you. So maybe we'll connect you directly with Connie after the fact and we'll go to your follow-up. Thank you.
Sure. Again, probably questions for after the assessment is done, but looking at the water discharge from the hydrometer at Big Bar Creek on the Fraser River, it looks like water levels have recovered in the Fraser River somewhat. Is there any indication that water is moving on the Chilcotin River south of the slide?
Connie, did you want to give it a shot? Or audio?
I can give it a shot if you can hear me. I don't know what else to do right now at this point.
Okay. No problem. So what we can offer right now is that there is evidence that there is water seepage through the dam. And so while it was anticipated or it appeared to be a total and complete blockage yesterday, Our on-site monitors are reporting that there is some water seepage at the blockage site. Now, of course, the Chilcotin River is also fed by many other tributaries. It is possible that the water is finding its way elsewhere as well. But again, these assessments are dynamic and happening as we speak. We know that people are concerned and that people are eager to receive more information about what is happening at the slide and the potential downstream impacts. So we will be sharing information as we can, but it has to be said again that those assessments are currently underway.
Thank you.
Minister Cullen, if you wanted to add anything further.
Just that experts are on the ground right now. We're looking at it. I would hesitate for anyone making large assumptions about this situation and how much water is or isn't coming through. But to say a dam and a slide of this size over many hundreds of meters in width and depth and height, this is a place that has had slides before, as recently as 2004, I believe, and some years before. So this is a dynamic place. This does happen, but the size of this slide is significant. And the water coming through, depending on the material and all those other things, that's exactly what our experts are assessing in the field as we speak.
Our next question comes from Amanda Follett-Hosgood of the Tyee. Amanda, please go ahead.
Hi there. It's probably a question for Minister Ma, but I'm just trying to get a sense of how many communities could be impacted. Are you able to give a rough estimate of how many, First Nations, municipalities, regional districts the ministry is communicating with about this?
So this might be better answered in terms of an overview of what we are concerned about. The landslide is creating a number of concerns for us. There is the potential for a sudden release of the blockage that would send not only water, but heavy amounts of debris downstream. This could be exacerbated further by erosion along the way. There are also concerns that persistent low water levels might impact navigation channels, fish like the ongoing Chinook Run and the Sockeye Run coming up. And those can have significant impacts on the ecology of the river system. And so those kinds of impacts can be more widespread than the immediate concern for life safety. I will say, though, that our most immediate concern is for life safety. Evacuation orders are in place in the areas around the blockage, and a broadcast intrusive alert was issued yesterday asking everyone along the Chilcotin and the Fraser River between the Chilcotin and Hope to immediately leave the water and stay away. So we are talking about the entire length of the Chilcotin as well as the length of Fraser River between the Chilcotin and Hope. Aside from that, we are working actively to understand the infrastructure and the properties that may be at risk downstream. There are already a number of road, bridge, and ferry closures in place. I'm happy to elaborate on those as well and any follow-ups according to the interest of the media.
Thank you very much. Do we want to go to Ian Cunnings, Senior Director of Regional Operations, EMCR?
Oh,
go ahead,
do
Ian.
I get a follow-up?
Yeah, thanks, Minister. Just in addition on the info sharing piece, our Provincial Regional Ops Center in Prince George has been holding regular information calls with impacted communities as well as communities downstream from the slide area. So right now our offices in Prince George, Kamloops, and Surrey are in regular contact with communities along the Chilcotin and Fraser River network to be sharing information as it comes in. And as the Minister pointed out, we're ready to issue further broadcast intrusive alerts should that level of warning be warranted. Thank you, Minister.
Thanks very much. Amanda, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how confident the province is about the potential effects in the lower mainland. Are you pretty confident that there wouldn't be any river rise that far downstream?
So the River Forecast Center has issued a high stream flow advisory for the Fraser River downstream of Pope. So we do anticipate that there could be high stream flows even through the Lower Mainland as well.
We go back to the media. Our next question comes from Andrea Wu, the Globe and Mail. Andrea, please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. I was just in touch with some engineering sources, and they were pointing out that the first community downstream, if I'm not mistaken, is Lillooet, which is about 150 kilometers south, and then it would be another 100 or so kilometers to Hope. And they were saying that the chance of flooding reaching those communities is quite low. I'm wondering if that's information that you guys have heard. Is there anything along those lines that I'm failing to consider?
I think this is the work that our technical experts are undertaking right now. This is why we have engineers and geologists, hydrologists on site and in the air assessing the landslide and working to understand the potential downstream risk.
Andrea, do you have a follow-up?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Thanks very much. We are going to do one last attempt. Connie, I believe you're joined by the phone line. I was wondering if you might try giving an update via the phone line instead.
Can you hear me? Hopefully this works. Wonderful. So quick update, my sincere apologies for the technical issues, but we are aware that this landslide is 22 kilometers upstream from the Farwell Canyon Forest Service Road Bridge. So just to give a more generalized location of it, as Minister Ma and Minister Cullen have indicated, it is substantial in size. But we are aware that this area is accustomed to seeing these types of events in historical nature. So in 2004 and in 1964, we did see similar events, but definitely not to the scale and scope that is currently there. We do have staff on the ground, as Minister Ma and Mr. Cullen have identified, and they are undertaking technical assessments right now. From what we know is there is a little bit of seepage that is happening through the material, but nothing substantial at this point in time. And we are very concerned of water starting to move through that material. We know that the material is made up of fine silts and clays, and it is highly susceptible to erosion. We recognize the challenges and the cultural sensitivities on the system. It is an extremely sensitive fish-bearing system, and we are working as quickly as possible to really assess the dynamic nature of the situation to be able to ensure that passage of the river is taken on. We are very concerned of the downstream impacts and the amount of debris and water that may pulse through the system. As more information becomes available, we will be able to refine the details around the evolving situation, but also to provide better information in regards to the risk, both upstream and downstream.
Thank you so much, Connie, for bearing with us and for providing that update. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. As you can appreciate, lots of moving parts here. I'll throw it back to the ministers to see if they have anything else they'd like to add before we conclude today's availability.
No, I just want to, of course, thank everyone for joining us in short notice here today. It is a dynamic situation and assessments are underway. We understand the interest from the public and the concern from the public and the desire for more information. And we will be sharing more information as soon as we have a greater level of confidence of the impacts, the potential impacts and risks associated with this landslide. I do see from the chat that there is another question, so maybe I'll stop there and throw it back to media relations.
Thanks so much. We hear from Rob Buffum, CTV News. Rob, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you for taking my question. I was wondering if Connie could weigh in on, you know, if she had any greater insight as to when this dam might get breached, so to speak, and if she has any further information on whether it's more likely that it would go over the top or seep through more aggressively than it is.
Connie, you're welcome to add anything if you have anything further.
I'm wondering.
I think
Go ahead.
Sorry, Minister Cullen. I think Minister Ma and Minister Cullen have covered this off very well. It's a dynamic situation. We have technical staff out there underway, and we are looking to be able to confirm next steps and have a better understanding of what a release of water may or may not look like in regards to timing and magnitude downstream, but also in regards to the stability of the current material that is in the river.
Yeah. I think what we can maybe add further is, given the level of concern and interest from the public as to what a sudden breakage of the dam might mean, I think it's worth noting that we anticipate water from the blockage would take about 12 to 24 hours to reach Hope. And so that gives media and the public a bit of a sense of how much notice might be provided in case of something that might suddenly occur. And with that, I'll pass it off to Minister Cullen to see if he has anything further to add before we close off.
No, it's well covered. We have exceptional people working on this. We're putting all of our resources towards it and understanding the nature of this. And as we've said many times, this is very dynamic. As Minister Ma said, people paying close attention to the alerts and notifications, tuning into the news is really critical. And this is a time where we work with local officials. We'll be briefing local mayors, local First Nations in the next little while, and as well getting their knowledge and history with these types of systems and rivers, alongside our technical experts, which are in the field. So we will put our resources towards it. We will are making good plans for all the different contingencies. And people should stay tuned, especially those in the areas that Minister Ma described.
Thank you, ministers. And finally, before we close, Rob, any follow-up?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. That concludes